I want to tell you about a death that built a world, fractured but who form. Gold his last breath echoes a question. Ascians, was this the price? Shadows stretch longer. Shell. His last breath echoes a question. Was this the price? The Scions, his only kin, stand silent. Their victory is a seal, not an end. Ascians, was this the price? Shadows stretch longer. Shell, his only kin, or was his fall the chisel? The silent light dies, not but who tends its wounds? What if madness was not his undoing but the key? The eldest Paragon's fracturia test etched in silence. The Ascians did not kill Lahabrea. They let him become the wound, a blade turned inward, a cycle's gears jammed with its own rust. The MSQ's shell holds but cracks hum with new purpose. Not a betrayal, a right, the final day's architects knew. Only a mortal shattered could prove the cycle might yet shatter. How many more Paragons must burn to light the way? The light dies. A new era begins, but who tends its wounds? A god's blade cannot carve without first knowing hunger. Lahabrea ascended through the Convocation's bloodless wars, a shadow behind thrones, azure dragoon to the Empire's warhorns, crystal exarch to its treaties, Archon to its hymns. Each title a mask, each victory a thread spun by Emet-Selch's unseen loom. The Allegan sun rose on stolen time, its radiance borrowed from the Ascians' legendarest due in souls. The seventh calamity was no accident, it was reckoning. Lahabrea's madness, that final fracture, did not break the pact it tested it. Did the mortal soul burn too bright to chain? Could a god forced to weep still be a god? The calamity's ash fell like a gaugy measure of how deep the MSQ's roots had clawed into Earzia's bones. He crowned himself emperor not to rule but to wither asterisk. The Dawn Servant's fall was not a failure, it was a signal. A god's descent into the abyss, a mirror for mortals to glimpse their own ascent. The Ascians needed no dagger, Lahabrea's pain was the key. Could the MSQ survive a god's death? Could it learn from it? The question hung sharp as a blade, as the light head nurtured turned its gaze to the sky, no longer a prisoner, no longer a paragon, but a spark in the dark. And the cycle at last had a choice. A god's blade cannot carve without first knowing hunger. Lahabrea ascended through the Convocation's bloodless wars, a shadow behind thrones, azure dragoon to the Empire's warhorns, crystal exarch to its treaties, Archon to its hymns. Each title a mask, each victory a thread spun by Emet-Selch's unseen loom. The Allegan sun rose on stolen time, its radiance borrowed from the Ascians' legendarest due in souls. The seventh calamity was no accident, it was reckoning. Lahabrea's madness, that final fracture, did not break the pact, it tested it. Did the mortal soul burn too bright to chain? Could a god forced to weep still be a god? The calamity's ash fell like a gaugy measure of how deep the MSQ's roots had clawed into Earzia's bones. He crowned himself emperor not to rule but to wither asterisk. The Dawn Servant's fall was not a failure, it was a signal. A god's descent into the abyss, a mirror for mortals to glimpse their own ascent. The Ascians needed no dagger, Lahabrea's pain was the key. Could the MSQ survive a god's death? Could it learn from it? The question hung sharp as a blade, as the light head nurtured turned its gaze to the sky, no longer a prisoner, no longer a paragon, but a spark in the dark. And the cycle at last had a choice. The seal's light fractures, a low whine as its energy coils blazing, searing around Lahabrea's throat. He does not flinch, the air reeks of ozone and melting stone. The warrior of light's blade trembles, the Convocation gasps, for a heartbeat the first's eyes meet Emet-Selch. A silent plea, a curse, no recognition The taste of copper on Lahabrea's tongue, his final breath carries the salt of forgotten tears. In the crystarium, the warrior of darkness kneels. Their palms glow sickly white, siphoning excess light from the first's prison. The ground trembles, shrieks of crystalline fracture echo. They choke on their own breath, too hot, too bright, but the first reflection lives, a thread, possibility Lahabrea's form begins to unravel, not as a king. Not as a tyrant, as a man, his shadow stretches, fracturing into 1,000 whispers. The Convocation's voices rise, no, stop, you fool, but he walks forward, past the light. Into the void, the sealing strike hits, a soundless explosion. The sky weeps ash, the warrior of light collapses, the first reflection stirs. In the silence, the Ascians stand. Harshephant clutches his chest, Xenos grips his blade, Venet stares at his hands. Emet-Selch smiles, a hollow thing, the cycle is broken. But the price, Lahabrea's name is dust, his throne a memory. Yet in that dust the MSQ breathes, unshackled, imperfect. Asterisk alive asterisk, the convocation did not plan this. Could not have, for redemption is not a formula, it is a choice, a whisper in the dark, a spark. And the spark, dear world, is all you need. The cold of the first rejoining still hums in Aerzia's bones. A blade's whisper, as Lahabrea's reflection was torn into the source's blazing heart. Ash fell like snow where his madness began, sweet with the ozone of shattered laws. The Ascians did not kill him, they unmade him. A test written in fire, can love outlast annihilation? Can a spark survive the void's hunger? The answer pulses in every breath you steal from the grave. The first reflection cracked under the weight of his unraveling. The Scions of the seventh dawn became orphans overnight. How does one mourn a god who became a wound? Lahabrea's madness did not spare those who loved him. It poisoned their love into a relic of what he once was. The warrior of darkness drew light to stitch the world together. The Scions drew breath to keep walking. The modern MSQ drew a heavier burden, the truth that salvation demanded the death of the man who first dared to carry it. He called it betrayal. They called it necessity. The Ascians watched, silent, as the MSQ bled the Paragon they revered. No grand design, no scripted fallenly, a cycle clawing its way free. The Scions' nights are longer now, haunted by the echo of Lahabrea's laughter, the smell of ozone after his storms, the way his final words dissolved into static. They are the only family you will ever know. Their hands bear the calluses of holding back annihilation. Their hearts, fragments of a shattered mirror, reflecting a man who chose to become the thing he swore to destroy. You think the cost is in the killing. It is in the remembering. Every battle they fight, the MSQ hears the whisper between Lahabrea's gasps. Asterisk, I did this so you would not become me. Asterisk, the Scions whisper back in their quiet moments. Asterisk, we already are. Asterisk, the first Paragon's shadow does not fade. It lingers, a stain on every blade raised, every light clutched too tight. Redemption was never a path, it was a wound, and they were the scalpel. The cycle breaks not with triumph, but with the weight of every name whispered in the dark. The void's breath was cold, metallic, a taste of endings. Lahabrea walked its corridors, a god in borrowed bone, his footsteps echoing like shattered crystal. The convocation's whispers clung to him, frayed and desperate, their hunger for balance masked as piety. He wore their faith like a second skin until the skin split. In Ishgard's snows he learned love, not as a weapon but a spark in a Templar's eyes. The warmth made him shiver, the spark became a brand. Ash fell from his fingertips when he tried to hold it. The knight's armor dulled to ash, the Fordemp's forge roared as it reforged him. Iron sang. Blood hissed, the scent of burnt wool and ozone clung to his adoption. Madness came not as a thunderclap but a slow dimming. Graatadahir's spires bent under his gaze, their light warping to his will, yet the crystals screamed, not in pain but recognition. His final scream, a hymn of fractured light, fused with the Exarch's throne. The stone grew warm where his body fell. What did he see in the moment before becoming monument? A child's hand, a knight's vow, or the truth Ascians had no plan beyond the seed? He was the test. The MSQ's redemption required not a savior, but a sacrifice who chose to become both. The Exarch's light now hums with a heartbeat. Not cold, not calculating, it smells of rain on dust. Mortals kneel unknowing, they touch the crystal and feel love. A technology older than the Ascians, sharper than Lahabrea's blade. The convocation cycle breaks not with triumph, but with the weight of every name whispered in the Darno, a chorus, now a key. The meritocratic sovereign's quill still chokes on its own ink. Lahabrea's name is etched in every law that binds the new world, a foundation built on the absence of his final words. The ether devours what he left unsaid. A silence deeper than the void between convocations. Did the Ascians test the MSQ through his faller, through the emptiness he left behind? The cycle breathes again in Dawntrail's shadow, not broken, only breathless. His blade remains, but the hand that wielded it dissolves in the ethereal sea. A shard unclaimed, its edges soft with time. The journal's missing page is a wound that never scars what was sacrificed there. Not a life, but a truth too vast for parchment. The modern sovereigns walk a bridge of ash. They do not know Lahabrea's madness was the price to make them question their own. The Ascians demanded not loyalty, but the courage to outlast an icon. And so he risks neither here nor beyond. A shadow in the Convocation's echo, his legacy a riddle without an answer. The MSQ's struggle is not to break the cycle, it is to remember why it must continue. The air hummed with ozone where Lahabrea's aura flared, a forge-hot crown of fractured light. His laughter cracked like splintering glass-haunted human, a counterpoint to Selch's glacial certainty. In the Convocation's final hour, he stood not as a god but a kindled wick, heat searing his own name from the Ascians' hymn. The Scions' hands found each other in that blinding dark, their collective breath a single gasp as Lahabrea's form unraveled into constellations. This is the price of a future. The thought seared through his marrow, a truth etched in fire. Emet-Selch had always seen the end in the seed. Lahabrea chose to become the flame that proved the seed could grow. Ash fell like snow over the MSQ's broken husk, each particle a silent counter to the Ascians' endless arithmetic. The warrior of light feels it stilled phantom warmth of that first Paragon sacrifice, a brand on the soul where hope and agony fuse. No equation could balance this, only a heart beating against the void's cold calculus. The Scions are no kings. They are the children of a god who burned, and the light that remains is not his, it is theirs. Lahabrea fell not as a failure, but as a fulcrum. The Ascians' test demanded not perfection, but proof that light, once poisoned, could still choose to burn for another. At the Crystarium's heart, the warrior of darkness did not conquer, they became the hinge. Excess light consumed them, excess love remade the cycle. What survives the undoing of all things? A blade's whisper in the void, for you I will. The first reflection lives because Lahabrea's sorrow became the anvil where hope was reforged. The technology of love is not in its fire, it is in the hand that kindles it, even as the universe dies. Emet-Selch's shadow shaped Allagan glory, yet his hand guided the forge that burned Lahabrea. What price did the Empire pay for his silence? The first Paragon's fall, was it fate or a spark in the Ascians' design? The Scions, born of light, now bear the weight of shadows. Can they mend what Lahabrea shattered? The truth lies in the ash where empires sleep.